around the protection needs of cannabis and craft brewing, and I also teach individuals how to invest in pot stocks. So yes, I am all into cannabis, right? So when I first started this journey and I decided that I was going to get into cannabis, I had been living in Chicago for 20 years and came back to Michigan to take advantage of the green rush. Wasn't sure what this was going to look like. Started off just as a insurance company. And as I started to work more into the industry and started to network, I saw that there was a major disparity between the African American representation and other representations. And it got to the point where it sickened me, because I had been on the corporate plantation for a very, very long time, working as an investment advisor, and I would see that it was only one of me, right? And I was supposed to be okay with that. But as I started to do the research, what I found out was that African Americans actually take up only 2% of the legal market, but we represent 75% of the incarceration due to possession and usage. So this didn't sit well with me at all, and as I started to work more, I started to figure out, well, we have to be able to create some inclusion. So with that, with M for MM, three things that we decided to do is that we were going to make our initiatives, and they were going to be, one, expungement, making sure that we expunge records. So individuals, at the end of the day, the government can't make money and we go to jail too. That just doesn't make sense, right? We got to figure that out. Second thing that I came up with was a second chance program for individuals who had a horticultural license from state penitentiaries. If you're a landscaper, then you're able to do a second chance program and be able to get jobs. Last but not least, entrepreneurship and the revitalization of the Black farm. So my family comes from a farming system. We still have a 75-year-old farm that's in Wayland, Michigan, and we definitely want to revitalize the sustainability in the farming system. So regardless of whatever you feel about cannabis, good or bad, it's here now, right? It's too late. You ain't want it in if you didn't want to hear it, you should have called the state representative. It's too late, it's here. But at the end of the day, we have to be able to take and become stakeholders. We can't allow for all of the dispensaries and all of the growers to be able to come in, and we do not offer economic inclusion. Sounds good? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about that today. So thank you so much. So I want to tell you about my panel. First we have Jay Fleming, who is from Arcana. He'll be talking about some of the different ways and some of the opportunities that we have in the cannabis market. We have Matt Hoffman, who is from an AP owns an HR company, Hand Grow, who will talk about how we will be able to get employees and earn income in this space. And then last but not least, Eric Foster, who is a lobbyist from Banks and Company, who will be talking about the commercial craft Cannabis Act that we are pushing right now. So definitely we'll let them talk for a little bit, take a break. You guys will be able to take a break for a little while and kind of digest a lot of this information, and then we'll do Q&A. Sound good? Because I'm sure afterwards you'll have a lot of questions. All right, so let's get started. Come on, go first.
Well, I'll go first.
Oh, sure. You know what? Did you all know that?
Oh, wait a minute.
Yes. All right, go ahead. You take it.
How do I tap it around?
Thank you, everybody. My name is Eric Foster, and as Simone mentioned, I'm with Banks and Company. Banks and Company, we're an African-American-owned public affairs firm headquartered in Southfield that works in a number of core areas: strategic communications, strategic planning, governmental relations and policy management, and diversity and inclusion and coalition building and community development. In those sectors of work, we have for the past 2 years worked heavily in the medical marijuana industry here in Michigan. Initially started off working with Detroit dispensaries who were going through the Board of Zoning Appeals or the Building Safety and Engineering Department approval process under the local laws that existed before the Michigan Medical Marijuana Facility and Licensing Act, MMFLA, which set up the commercial rules for state licensing for commercial businesses. Before that, we had in 2008 a voter initiative that passed the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act, the MMA, which allowed for persons to grow medical marijuana products for themselves and for caregivers to operate in a somewhat quasi-business structure to be able to provide the products for up to 5 patients as well as themselves. And in local communities, Detroit, Ann Arbor, Lansing, Grand Rapids for a period of time, and others set up local rules, but there weren't consistency in those local rules for commercial businesses. So that's when, in 2016, the state set this up. So moving from that sector of work with clients in the Detroit market, we started working and saw that this industry was continuing to evolve and that there was going to be a continuing need for governmental relations, depending upon the communities, possibly campaigns to do opt-in if the local government wasn't interested or wasn't moving quickly enough. We did the Detroit 2017 ballot initiatives to get them to opt in, because at that point you had close to 100 functioning businesses who were going to run the risk of being shut down because the Detroit City Council and Mayor Duggan had not moved on implementing a local ordinance to comply with the MMFLA. So we did a ballot campaign, ended up getting 62% of the vote for Detroit to opt in to allow those commercial businesses to continue operating. And here's the way you have to think about this. The average provisioning center now, formerly called dispensaries, has anywhere from 10 to 18 employees. So we were talking about roughly between 1,000 to 1,800 people being out of jobs because of the lack of movement that we were getting in lobbying the city council. But we've been able to, separately from that, move more effectively in getting communities to consider opting in. Right now there's 140 of the 1,773 communities in the state of Michigan that have opted in to medical marijuana, or one of those 140 opted into recreational. We work with Muskegon as one community. We work with Grand Rapids, Pontiac, Taylor, Sturgis, Douglas. We've been in rural communities, we've been in urban communities, we've been in suburban areas, helping them craft ordinances that can meet win-wins for both the community, governance and compliance, and then lastly, for the ability for the businesses to operate and grow. So, all of that work and working with applicants in the space, going through licensing, helping them set up and identify real estate and identify vendors to work with them to help them become a functioning business, moved us to an initiative that a couple of our clients brought out at the end of last year. And they said that with the passage of the recreational ballot proposal for 2018, the MRTMA, that there was concern in a few areas. One area of concern was the aspect of now you had these major companies coming in and the potential of the industry being pushed just towards recreation. What would happen to the medical research and medical focus of the industry? It felt like a bait and switch, which I hate to say when you look at other states that have went to the recreational along with the medical does get diminished, and in some cases like Oregon, gets completely snuffed out. So it loses the focus on how are we helping patients, and it becomes more of a trial and error where I'm asthmatic as well as have high blood pressure. I don't do trial and error with 50 high blood pressure medicines. That's not how this is supposed to work. If we're going to utilize, and I've seen from talking to clients who are users of medical marijuana, patients that they work with that come into their businesses, their provisioning centers. These products do work. This is a pharmaceutical medicine. It's the newest entrant, but it needs to have protections to make sure we keep a focus on that. So that was one part. The second part was the entry point for people of color, lower income white people, to have an opportunity to become business owners. Because with the Walmartization of the industry, you didn't have those pathways for people to transition and become licensed operators and participate in that income that will come from the industry. Additionally, there was concern around equity and opportunity for persons of color on the employment as well as on the ownership side. California has passed an act in 2018, the California Cannabis Equity Act, which put in on a state level and dropped down to cities different aspects of different aspects of equity on employment as well as in ownership, but we didn't have that in Michigan. And then also community benefits for the communities that opt in. Massachusetts has a great law when it comes to that. So we took those aspects plus the expungement that, and I think Simone's trying to tell me to wrap it up, but and I will, but give me that because this is important. This is important. So tying all of those, the expungement, because there's not a direct pathway for just expungement of removing convictions, but then a pathway to become owner-operators or to have direct employment. So this coalition of organizations, Minorities for Medical Marijuana, which our company joined last year, and we've seen do great work around the country, and now grateful to have Simone here to do that in the state of Michigan. And Matt and Jay and other stakeholders came together and said, well, how do we address a broad sector of items that can be helpful for local communities, helpful for equity, create a pathway for the opportunities of ownership, can also help cut down on the leakage into black market, which hurts everybody, and then also keep a focus on medical research along with the growth of the recreation. And that's what came and led us to the Commercial Cannabis Craft Act, which is a broad package of bill items that will address all three of the existing marijuana laws in the state of Michigan, but also addresses penal code items with respect to expungement and then a direct linkage to opportunity in the industry.
All right, thank you so much, Aaron. All right, so you guys, I know y'all take that in because we're definitely going to be able to ask Aaron some more questions on the Q&A, but one of the pieces that he definitely mentioned is how do we get employment, right? Earn income. So as an entrepreneur, I'm going to tell you, it is not made for everybody. You know what I mean? Being an entrepreneur is not made for everybody, but we still need to be able to have some form of inclusion in this industry. And so there are great positions, jobs that your past skills can actually leverage you into this industry. So I wanted Matt to talk about some of the opportunities. He has a wonderful HR company that we are blessed to be able to work with. And so this company where he actually, from top executives, all the way down to the janitor or the person that cleans or whatever, to be able to help these facilities to be able to go and what that looks like. So we need to talk about that because a lot of people don't even know that there's a job available, right? So, Mr. Hall,
Yeah.
will you take it away?
Thanks, Simone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming out. I appreciate the turnout. And so I'm Matt Hoffman. I'm the owner of handgrown.jobs. And as Simone said, it's a company that connects job seekers with employers in the cannabis industry. And so we can get everybody from the executive to the janitorial and every specialism in between. So a couple things to know about the cannabis industry is that there are positions within the industry that are directly related to the plants, growing, cultivation specialists, master growers, nutrient mixers. These are the people that are going to be dealing with the plants every day. Bud tenders will be touching product, package machine operators will be touching